Kelechi, or what are the expectations of this football team this year?
Expectations are to improve. Expectations are to do better than we did last year. Expectations are to go to a bowl game.
You went to a bowl game in Coach Rhodes' first year. Last year you had 3 games at the end of the season to get back to a bowl game. Failed to win any of those games. That's the motivating factor. You know you're close, right?
Yeah, it's a motivating factor more so though because we had some great leadership and some great seniors on that team, and we didn't come through for them. So that was a disappointment, and we kind of just don't want that feeling, especially since this is my senior year. That's a feeling that I don't ever want to have again.
Seems like you're on every watch list that comes out. You know, a lot of people have you all conference. How have you dealt with that hype this year, really, for the first time in your career to have, you know, your name popping up every other day?
The way that I've dealt with it is my coaches actually use it as motivation for me to live up to those expectations. So I use it as a motivator. You know, obviously there's going to be more scrutiny, more criticism, so I use it as, you know, a point to improve and get better.
Has there been some criticism of you already? I mean, have you already heard some of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard, you know, everything from, you know, overhyped to, you know, I don't know, I've heard a lot of things. I mean, especially coming from Iowa State, you know, small school, nobody's really heard about me. They're wondering why people are saying my name. So I've heard a little bit of criticism, and from like, you know, like Hawkeye guys that, you know, so I've heard, you know, here and there, but there's a reason that I'm playing and they're not, so it's really nothing you really can do about it.
How are you going to use that, you know, in your how have you used that, I guess, in the off season to work for 2011?
I mean, it's just, you know, it gets you going, you know, it pisses you off, you work harder,
yeah.
It motivates you to just grind, so I just use it as a point of emphasis. You know, every time I see a clip that I don't like, I'll put it up.
Really?
And I'll put it in my locker and I'll look at it and I'll use it as motivation.
Who's the outspoken leader on offense, considering that you guys don't even have a quarterback named yet?
I would probably say Darius. He's probably Darius Starks is one of our guys that are more vocal in the locker room, and will come up and say something as needed. But for the most part, this team is a lot more. It's probably the most disciplined team that we've had. So really, there's not much to be said. We know when there's a time for work. So when it's time to work, we work.
What are your thoughts on the schedule, not just the non-conference Big 12 games, but the non-conference games for UConn and Iowa?
I feel like those are both challenging games. UConn being the Big East champs last year, going to a bowl game, and Iowa, obviously, they're always good. So those are going to be challenging games, and those are going to be tests. Definitely not going to overlook those games at all.
How do you think that some of the guys who are going to join you on the line this year, some of the young guys, you know, Farniok, specifically the freshman at center, how have they adjusted, and do you think they're ready for the season?
Our strength coach Yancey's put a lot of weight on that kid, a lot of pressure, and he's responded to it. He's been getting better, he's been getting bigger, and we have a lot of experience around him, so I think he'll be okay with the experience we have. We'll have him ready to go.
Being a Houston guy, what did it mean to beat the Bucks from Austin last year?
It felt good because it was, you know, a home game basically. I have a lot of guys that go to Texas, and you know, it was my niece's first game. Family was there, so it was nice. I mean, just got to come back and play hard next year. You know, they're going to come back for us. You know, that's how Texas responds. That's what they do.
Is that the kind of win that can help you as a program take another step in this conference?
It was a historic step, I believe, statistically. It was a step, and you have to be able to beat teams like that on a regular basis if you want to be a competitor in this league. So I feel like that was important. It was an important step to take.